much further.
Not too much happened.
You see, actually, here you get quite a good view of the prospects in this position, because we now have some sort of queen's, queen's gambit. But you see that white has a better version than normally. Because normally the queen is not so well placed on c3. And black has difficulties to develop his pieces. But on the other hand, I think that, that Carlsen just wants to play a position.
Yeah.
It is very close, very similar to the Lasker variation, but slightly better for white, just one tempo difference. In the Lasker variation, you have this maneuver where you play knight e4, bishops get exchanged, and then the queen is normally on e7.
Yeah.
And e7 is actually a better square in general. But maybe black can try to find a way to be only slightly worse and make a draw. I think that for Magnus Carlsen at this particular moment, a draw would be fine for him.
But he's also, well, we know him as a very patient player. He can wait for his chances.
If he gets chances, he will certainly grab them. That is, of course, what he. He has the best mentality of all the top players.
Is that, what would you compare it to? Is it Fischer-esque or?
Yeah, probably. Probably better than Kasparov, because Kasparov sometimes, when he was surprised in the opening, and he was not sure about the position, he was, especially against Karpov, he was satisfied with the draw.
Yeah, he would go home and have another look. Yeah.
And Fischer was not like that. Fischer even played for a win when he was worse.
Well, which Magnus has done as well.
Yes, but not as clearly as Fischer did. Fischer just, there's one famous game against Matulovic where he avoided the repetition of moves, and he was almost lost at that particular moment. Later the game was a draw anyway.
Yeah. Well, for the moment, a comfortable game for Anish.
Now it's isolated on c4. It looks like it's better for white if black is doing this. But I'm trying to look for active possibilities for black. Another way to try to activate the position is to double on the c file. Now, under circumstances, it would be possible to play c takes d4, because you can, well, white can then take twice on c7, then you have to try to find some counterplay. But I'm not sure that it's enough. So white could, after rook bc7, try a move like h3. I would suggest. It's a very quiet game, but black hasn't really liberated his game yet. If you play e takes d, the problem is that queen takes, rook takes. Oh, just I didn't get there. Rook takes c7, and the knight is hanging. And if you go with the knight, and then you take on d4, and that's it. Then white is just better. So we go back to position of the rook c8. I saw him playing that, so the move is also here now. Yeah. He took some time for that, and actually it's interesting that the c file is very important here, this particular position. Black actually has no control of the c file, and it's not so easy to get it at all. But there's this tension just around the pawn on c5. And it's clear that it will take a while for black to solve these problems. And I'm very curious what's going to happen. How black is going to solve his problems, how white is going to try to get more.
How can he improve his position?
Well, one plan is, for example, let's say if you, let's go to this, let's do these moves that we did before. You play rook d1, you play rook c7, you play h3. Now, at some moment, an idea to continue for white may be to take on c5, take back, the queens will be exchanged, take back, and then to push b5, trying to establish a majority on the queen side. It's not very convincing yet, but the question is, what is black doing? That is the main question. How's black, does he want to keep this queen on f6? Now he has all the pieces actually on the right squares, and he has to wait, I guess.
Yeah.
And then white can see what he does. He can maybe make small moves. H3 is a small move. Just trying to increase the pressure on black's position.
Yeah.
But of course, don't see a clear-cut way to get a big edge here.
Yeah. But black has to tread carefully.
Yeah, I think that it's not the most exciting games. People will be more thrilled to see games like yesterday between Wei Yi and Navarra, but on the other hand, this is also very interesting from a strategical point of view, and also, of course, for the tournament.
Yes,
because if Giri would manage to win this game, then it's completely open, the fight for the first prize.
Well, also, of course, depending on what Caruana is doing.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have a look at.
Yeah, I was also looking at that because sometimes I want to look at the real games, the real boards, instead of looking at screens. And yeah, I must say that the game continued in a very interesting fashion. We stopped here, then Wei Yi was thinking for a while, and he didn't want to try knight takes bishop takes f3. I think white takes back with the pawn and is better then. So here there's a very forced ID, bishop g6, and now knight d4. This is all very clear cut. I mean, white has weakened, of course, his king side, but he has more space, and he has also the idea that his center is quite strong. Black has no time to profit from the fact that g4 is a weakness now. If you would take, let's say here on e5, then you already have an immediate problem. Because you get immediately f4 and the knight has to go, and then you play f5 and the bishop on g6 has no square. So he had to do it differently. He had to put, but I don't trust it really.
So your guess would be good chances for.
I like
Caruana?
white's position. Yeah, I think that Caruana has good chances, and he did probably very good preparation.
Yeah. Maybe we should have a look at Giri Carlsen.
Yeah, we go
Apparently
back to
they've been
Giri Carlsen.
trading some pieces.
Actually,
Look at
he
this.
got nothing. No. That is really disappointing. He didn't want to keep the tension for some reason. I don't know. I cannot really judge this because he played d takes c5, and now actually this is obviously nothing. It's very disappointing, I must say. I expected more from this opening, because now, of course, this game is not really that interesting anymore.
Moving quickly now.
Yeah, they just moved to. They probably want to reach move 30 and then agree to a draw. That's what I guess. I mean, this position, well, nobody is really trying to play for a win here. Very disappointing, this move they take c5, but maybe Giri didn't see anything better.
So that might finish soon. Well, there were two of the players who didn't come here by bus but by private car, so they don't have to wait for the bus.
Oh, not. But all players should be privileged in this way, yeah.
There were three. There's three Jaguars that came from Wagense to here.
And so let's say if, just give an example, if Luke is finished now with this game, can he take one of the Jaguars or not?
What do you think?
Not so sure.
I'm not sure about that.
He has to wait for the bus, yeah?
He might have to wait for the bus, but I don't know. In any case, these two, they don't have to wait for the bus. And Caruana was the other one who came in a...
You think they will go by Jaguar soon to Wagense back? Yeah?
Well, if I...
Or maybe to look at some trains still.
Yeah, if we look at Magnus Carlsen, I don't think he's particularly fascinated by the game anymore.
He looks bored, yeah?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, what can you say?
But
he
anyway,
probably expected to be faced with a tougher defense, yeah?
But let's see, maybe we can persuade them to come here and go back a bit later with Jaguar.
Giri or Magnus Carlsen?
We'll try our best.
Somebody will explain us why this was not interesting anymore.
And in fact, what I should say for the people at home is that, well, I've been doing this often, and most of the time people at home, they think that you're talking to a big crowd, and you're not. You're just talking to some empty room. Here we are talking to a big crowd, and that's really wonderful to see. Hundreds of people sitting here. The entire room is filled. So if you have any questions, just raise your hand and we will try to answer your questions, because it's wonderful that you're all here.
We have 3,000 visitors in this museum.
Wow, 3,000 visitors. I'm not sure if all of those are chess fans today, but
300 maybe.
Well, definitely hundreds. And they made a draw, Jan.
Yeah, so did they reach move 30, or they thought it was good enough? So
I must confess, I don't even. Do they have to make 30 moves? Or? I don't think there's any such rule here.
Well, I mean, it should be something like 3 hours or 30 moves.
Well, I think in general this is what the Tata Steel tournament always does very well. I mean, you don't have such rules if you invite the right people. And
no, but still, I mean, for example, you had the second round, you had the game Kayak against Van Wely.